Salam, everybody. This is Investor Shake back at it again with another video. I hope everyone's had a good week so far and your portfolios are currently in the green. So for today's video, I want to ask you a question. What does Apple, Microsoft, Square, Disney, Netflix, Google, and Facebook all have in common? It is that they are questionable. They're not either Sharia compliant nor Sharia non-compliant. So you have to ask yourself, are these companies worth investing in despite the fact that they're neither halal or not? So the reasoning behind this is that these are massive companies that have operations in various departments. And for example, with Apple, not only do they produce such as the iPhone, iPad, and MacBooks, but they also dive deeper into services and subscriptions, such as Apple Music, which you pay monthly for, Apple TV, Apple Fitness, which I think is going to be a new thing. These are services that Apple provides that people have to pay a monthly fee or yearly fee to access. So the issue behind Apple would probably be the content that they are putting on their Apple TV. And some of the content that they're putting might not be halal friendly. So you would think, this is a pretty big company, but for a minor issue like that, would that be convincing enough not to invest in this company? That's something you'd have to ask yourself as the individual investor. Despite the questionable content that Apple might show on Apple TV, is this company worth investing? Should I put my own money into this company? So I can't give you the answer to that. Zoya can't give you the answer to that. You have to do your research and determine for yourself whether or not you want to put your money into Apple. And another issue could be with Square as well. One of the issues with Square is their Square Capital, which provides loans to businesses. So they do collect interest on that. However, everything else that Square has to offer seems pretty good in my opinion, such as money transfers, buying stocks, buying cryptocurrencies. That's nice, but because of the Square Capital side of the company, where they provide business loans, that is another issue where you have to ask yourself, is it worth investing in this company despite the fact that they engage in riba or interest, which is haram in Islam? So on the Zoya website, this has been brought up. What are questionable revenue segments? And the creator of Zoya, Saad, answers it by saying revenue segments are flagged as questionable in one of two scenarios. One, it either falls into gray area where there may be a difference of opinion among Islamic scholars, or two, we weren't able to retrieve enough information to confidently determine whether or not it is Sharia compliant. Now, as you see, the information that you get on these stocks on the Zoya app is from the 10Ks that these companies provide every year. The creators of the app were able to look at these 10Ks and obtain the necessary information to put on the app, as well as provide a definitive statement as to whether this stock is halal or not and why it is what it is. Now, with these companies that I've mentioned, they do fall in a gray area, as there are minor aspects of the company that could question whether or not it's halal or not. Like, everything could be going so well for the company. They could have amazing financials, no debt, no interest, and there is low liquidity, so that they're not holding a lot of cash. But there might be an issue with a minor issue, perhaps something about inappropriate content or something that is un-Islamic in a minor aspect that could be a deal breaker for you, depending on how strict you are in evaluating these companies' compliance to Sharia law. And that's going to require hours of research, reading the 10Ks in depth and looking at every number carefully, trying to make sure that the operating expenses are at a favorable level. And on the Halal Investor subreddit, which I highly suggest you take a look at and follow, somebody has asked, why are Apple and Microsoft questionable in Zoya? And of course, Saad came to the rescue and it was able to answer it in more detail. He says, most large companies have multiple revenue segments and lines of business. Zoya evaluates each of them individually and flags them as either compliant, non-compliant, or questionable. When a revenue segment is flagged as questionable, it can mean one of two things. And these are the two reasons that he brought up in the website. And then he goes further by saying, in the case of Apple, their services segment include the revenue that they generate from streaming services such as Apple Music and TV. Since some people may find this to be objectionable, we flag it as questionable so that you can make your own informed decision. So that's what I said earlier. It's up to you to decide whether or not you want to put your money into these companies, despite these minor issues. Amazon also has a similar revenue segment, which they call subscription services, that falls under the same category due to their involvement in Amazon Music and Prime Video. So yeah, that's an excellent example with Amazon, as some of the movies and some of the songs that you may stream on the Amazon platform might not be halal. For example, maybe you rented a movie on Amazon and it was R-rated because it had nudity or drug use, despite the fact that perhaps you may use Amazon to purchase essential items that you buy. So if you were someone that looks at a company strictly and would consider those minor things to be a deal breaker as to not invest in the company, that's up to you. But if you're someone that looks at the company in a more broad sense and understands what this business does, and everything looks good in terms of their finances, and which would then make you convinced enough to invest in the company, that's also another option. Again, it's up to you as the individual to decide whether you want to put your money in these companies, and it is controversial. This is Investor Sheikh checking out.